My name is Kristian Weaver. I'm a lecturer in sports therapy. My modules that I teach on are anatomy and physiology in the first and second year, as well as assisting throughout clinical placements and clinical practice within our sports therapy clinic. So we have a couple of students with SpLD needs. Previously we'd had readers for exams coming from the SpLD team, and I liaised with those people who were in the SpLD team as to what we could offer the students potentially as an alternative rather than having a reader sitting in with them. We needed to come up with a different solution to having a reader, and therefore I came up with the idea of putting audio onto a PowerPoint presentation, and therefore the student could replay the audio whenever they needed to, but also it gave them the sense that they had control over the questions that they wanted to go through in the exam. It's a relatively simple process to set up. If you're used to PowerPoint presentations, it's just grabbing an audio clip from the top right hand corner and then recording it through a set of headphones and putting it onto the PowerPoint itself. In addition to that, I also wrote the question out on the PowerPoint and gave any images which would be in the normal examination paper. So it's a relatively simple process, and then once set up, all you need to do is load it up onto the laptop prior to the examination, and therefore the student can just flick onto the next examination question and press play in the top right hand corner, and that means that the audio clip will then play, and they can replay that as many times as they want or pause it at any point. And they can also skip to different questions on the PowerPoint, so it doesn't mean that they have to go in an ordinal fashion and just go through it. They can actually skip to any questions that they want to answer at that time. So in my module of anatomy and physiology, there's actually quite a lot of long words which students when they first come to the university don't fully understand and don't know how to pronounce. So originally for my module I put on audio clips for those longer words so that they could fully understand how to pronounce the words, but also when we come to the examination process, they might not be able to fully read the word that's in front of them, therefore the audio clip will help them with that. But also if we had any readers within the examination, they also may struggle in order to pronounce some of the words that we use. So by me pronouncing them on the PowerPoint presentation, it saves that awkwardness of the reader not being able to answer questions. I'd spoken to some of the students regarding the pros and cons of using the audio clip versus using a reader, and it was that with a reader obviously they would be able to get some feedback immediately and they could read the question back to them if they required, but with the audio clip they felt more comfortable using it because they didn't feel pressured with that person sitting next to them in the exam, and they were able to then use the audio as and when they actually needed it within the exam, and they didn't feel awkward asking them to repeat a reader to repeat the question multiple times. So the initial idea came from the fact that within my module itself we started to put together some PowerPoint presentations which contained audio, which would help the students pronounce certain words within anatomy and physiology. And so I took that idea forward, so that then we attached it onto the examination, and therefore we had the audio with the examination itself. Yeah, so this is the first time I've used it within an examination. I thought from gaining feedback from the students, they seemed to openly adopt it and they thought it was really useful for them, especially with that alleviating that awkwardness that they have when they have a reader sitting next to them. Everyone felt more comfortable in that environment. At the start of the exam, typically students get verbal instructions of what they need to do within the examination, but obviously if we're doing it on a PowerPoint presentation, they needed to be placed in text on the very front of the PowerPoint, as well as putting it onto an audio clip as well. So that's one of the things I had to get around, because I had to understand that the students don't necessarily read the front of the PowerPoint, so I had to audio clip that as well. So the advice that I give to others is probably, first of all, identify the needs of the students which you have within the classroom, because they might benefit from using this specific way of examination. I'd also say that ensure that you know and you cover everything that you need to within your examination. So when I narrated the examinations, it started with the question number, followed by the exam question, followed by the marks that were available for the question. And also if you have any images with text on, that needs to be narrated as well, because that's the purpose of the audio clip.